Hello, South Pacific family. Once again, we're together, and I can't believe that in a month, we're going to have district conference. So if you haven't registered yet, please be sure to log on and register. You have until the end of this month to have that price of $119. So I really want to encourage you. Look forward to having you there. Our theme this year is 911 Sent and Sending. It's about the urgency of the gospel and presenting the gospel, which really brings me to what I want to talk about, and that is the heart of God. What is the heart of God? And if we have the heart of God, what would our natural outpour be? How would we respond to that? Immediately think of the verse that we see at football games and other gatherings where there's this John 3:16, and it really reflects the heart of God. For God so loved the world that he gave. Here's my question. If we have the heart of God, what are we willing to give that is a sacrifice? He sacrificed his son because he loved the lost. What is your church willing to sacrifice? I recall I was doing an interim at a church and several years ago, and I was only there 3 months, but the elders would gather together. They would tell me how much they longed to have the Holy Spirit show up and for there to be revival in their church. And I asked them, I don't think you do. And they were a little offended that I pushed back on that. But you see, they wanted God to come within their realm with what they were comfortable with, which kind of answered why they had 1 or maybe 2 on a good year people come to Christ. They had such a fine box, they weren't willing to sacrifice their comfort for what they wanted in order to see people, lost people, come to Christ. So the question is, what is your church willing to sacrifice to see lost people come to Christ? I get to go to a lot of churches, and I see their desire to have deep biblical preaching. Absolutely love that, and that is good. My question is, who are they trying to feed? Are they trying to feed the non-believer or the new believer? Or are they trying to feed the one who's known Christ long? Both are necessary, and here's my point. When will the non-believer, the unchurched, be a part of it? Is that at home Bible studies? Great. Then have it appropriate, feed appropriately. I don't feed a baby a steak. It's milk, and it's not a lot of milk. It's only as much as their little tummy can handle. And yet I find repeatedly on Sunday mornings, because that's the target when people actually come, that they give steaks, and then they wonder why people don't come back. Here's my point. God so loved the world, he cared about the lost, he gave up his only son. He sacrificed his son. What is your church willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice? I love to do woodworking. And one of the uniqueness, I pray for the salvation of my neighbors. And when I go out to the garage and I raise the garage door to let some air in, I've got a couple of neighbors that love to come and chat. I'm willing to sacrifice that time of woodworking, which usually can be a couple of hours if they come by, because they're available. And to me, I'm willing to sacrifice that time where I recover and I have this place and this space because my neighbor who is lost wants to talk. That's good. I can sacrifice that. I had a church when I first entered ministry. They sat me down and they said, Pastor, we don't want those kind of people here. We were talking about what do we do with the cigarette butts at the front door, because people would step outside at the break and smoke. And they were having trouble. And they said, we don't want those people here. Let's do whatever we can. I'm like, what are we doing? These people need Jesus. They're coming to us. Why is it that we're not willing to sacrifice? And here's the sad part about that church. It was a 60-year-old church at that point. That church died because they were not willing to have the heart of God. The heart of God is to sacrifice what is precious to him in order to reach and connect the lost. It's tough. We don't like these kind of conversations. They're not fun, personally, nor leading a church. But next month, district conference, I hope that we have time together to really talk, encourage each other in this journey of what is it to reach the lost. Our title for the text comes out of John chapter 20, where Jesus is saying, as the Father has sent me, I am sending you. I hope you can come. I know that you're supposed to as a licensed worker. Once every 2 years, we have a gathering called District Conference, and you're supposed to go to that. It feels so inappropriate for me to say that because it sounds so self-centered, and yet it is a reality of how we are structured in the polity of the Christian Missionary Alliance. And so I know that I'll see you there. I look forward to that. I trust that God will be the center of it, and that we'll have great discussion about reaching the lost for Jesus. To Him be the glory. See you next month.